Star Wars audio on a Wednesday night. You know what that means.
Oh,
The Acolyte has it all over us again.
there was nowhere to go but up.
Okay.
It can't have been worse than last
You're
week,
not
right?
wrong.
Welcome to the episode where the Jedi go on a hike.
It's the beach episode of the anime. This was such a weird episode.
We don't get into any real character stuff. Like, people state things we already know to each other. Like Yord saying to Osha,
I've known you since we were younglings. May has always been your wound. I didn't know Osha was a twin.
the dialogue hasn't improved. It's still incredibly clunky.
Is it weird that this is probably the best episode of the show so far?
No, I feel like we liked episode 1 more, for sure. It had more cool Star Wars stuff.
But I kind of liked this one.
Oh, I thought I would be the nice one, you'd be the mean one. So
I
you
think
actually
I'm
liked
the
it.
nice one.
What did you like about it then? For most of this episode, it's them going on a hike and they occasionally stop and talk to each other like it's a CW show.
I think I like this episode the most because this one just like made me think about ways to do this better. And I was like, in episode 5 when Luke's training with Yoda and he does that whole like spirit quest where he fights Darth Vader and it turns out to be himself. I feel like that's what this episode should have been. But both the girls and Soul, like everyone should have been getting lost in the forest and had to go on their own kind of spirit journey.
No, but then
through,
it
like,
just turns into the Spirited Away episode of Avatar from Netflix that we also hated because it was just them running around having visions. I don't know, I'm not a fan of that.
But like I wanted Osha because she's like getting more in touch with the Force, or at least like that's what like it's like alluding to. She's like, I'm feeling things again.
But she's also saying how she hates the Force, kind of, because the Force got that creature killed.
She got that creature killed.
Yeah, she's like, oh, I could feel it, but then it died.
Welcome to the Force.
I thought it was going to come back because they say very loudly, oh, it went straight for the lightsaber. They're attracted to the light.
Yeah.
So it definitely felt like they were foreshadowing.
Now it's nighttime and the only light is going to be through lightsabers.
All of
So
their
I imagine
lightsabers.
like Soul's going to be like, turn off your lightsabers now. And then they're going to turn it all off and all the monsters are going to swarm.
The one with his lightsaber on. Smilo Ren.
Smiley Ren. But I'm sure it will come back because why would they mention it if it wouldn't come back? Unless it's just to describe the scene, which is also something this show would do.
When May falls down face first in the fart plants then stands up and there's the little beaver going... And we were just joking about it. She should have punted it into next week.
Very true. Man, we need a tracker to track our tracker sometimes.
Yeah, the dialogue's still incredibly
Looks
clunky.
at camera. Did we just lose our tracker?
No, what was the one? Oh, yeah, they completely do the Marvel thing where Osha goes, I'm not wearing one of those civilian robes, though. And then it's weird, though, because it's not a hard cut to her in the civilian robes, like would be the comedy thing to do, where it's like, oh, I will never wear those robes. Bang,
And
in the
it's
robes.
her like fixing up the robes.
Instead, it's, oh, I'll never wear those robes. Transition shot that shows them in hyperspace, and then it. So it's like, it's weirdly bridged. It's even less funny than would be funny, even though it's
we
cliche.
had to show that they were in space on a ship. Otherwise, people wouldn't understand.
I feel like we would have picked up on that.
No, we have to show the audience.
We're very dumb.
Well, just like the audience, apparently, because everything just had to be explained to us again.
That's all the CW talks were. It was just people saying who they were to each other. There's no real revelation.
Well, it's like May was talking to the drunk herbalist guy. He's like, just in the forest here. That's where we're going to find him. And they're like, do. We're running out of daylight. Do. And then like without skipping a beat, May's like, I can't believe my sister's with those pencil pushing dweebs, the Jedi. And it's just like, ew, like why did that feel so forced? Like
Forced?
that should have come through in like a conversation where May was talking about like the Jedi are after her. May's with Soul. She joined the Jedi after all.
It could just be because this episode didn't feel as offensive, like to Star Wars. They weren't just like throwing shade at the Jedi every chance they got.
Yeah.
Osha almost had a character in the way that she just decided she wants to kill her sister.
That was kind of cool though.
It's a flip because then they need the drama of, oh, she wants to kill her sister, but now her sister's flipped to being good.
Yeah.
Which is such a snap decision, and she somehow sets up a trap in the middle of the forest
Using
with
the
like
Force.
100 million tall trees. She's just like, yes, I made a rope trap. But herbalist that everyone thinks is Smilo Ren, is that the rumor?
Well, he's the only other person who's on the planet that we know of that works for the evil Sith.
It's either the mums or it's Indira, and they've just come down. But the big pivotal moment of the episode, which doesn't happen till like 25 minutes in, after a
Of this
bunch of talking and
27-minute
walking,
episode.
May's made her snap decision to suddenly be good, and she's like, I'll just turn myself into the Jedi, everything will be okay. Still hunts down Kelnaka, goes into his shack, and he's been murdered. Oh no. And she's like, he's here because he's been murdered with a lightsaber. So it just made it feel like retroactively her snap decision to change was just so that this could happen.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like we missed a whole episode of her deciding to be good. Instead, it happened off screen. She sits down and then Herbalist comes back, and that's in that like 30 seconds, she's decided, yes, I'm going to be a good guy now. Which I like the idea of, I don't know. She says she doesn't have to do this anymore and that she can go her own way and turn herself into the Jedi. But why was she on the quest in the first place? If she was on it for revenge, why has she suddenly decided that revenge isn't necessary?
I think revenge was like a byproduct of she wanted to do this because she was going to become the Acolyte / the new apprentice. And also he said that you need to do this or I'll kill you.
Oh, I guess just because evil. Just
Yeah.
generally evil thing. That's what evil people do. They always kill their minion to prove a point. But she says that her allegiance is with Osha, and that's all that matters to her, which is funny to me because the last thing we hear her say in the last episode with the flashback before she dies is, I'll kill you to her own sister.
Also, she was the one who we thought died, and she saw Osha alive, so why wouldn't she be spending her whole life looking for Osha?
Yes.
Instead, she's spending her whole life getting revenge.
Yeah, because if she fell and somehow didn't die, they didn't explain how. If Osha then also fell, then she would have seen Osha's corpse like hit the floor.
Or she would have found it when she woke up from the fall, or like...
Yeah, like at what point does she decide that the Jedi killed all of her family, but Osha's also dead? It's just not really explained, I guess. But they make her flip so that they can have the big moment of, oh, she wants to turn herself in now.
Well, now everyone's against the bad guy, and that means we can get both of our girls fighting the bad guy at once.
I don't think anyone can fight this bad guy because he is able to force push like 8 Jedi, force pushed into the distance.
Yeah, with one hand, just like this.
After he floats down from the sky like Magneto.
Flying. Have we seen flying? Before?
We've never seen a Jedi manipulate themselves like that. They can jump and fall slow.
Yeah.
Maybe they jumped and fell really slowly.
Maybe they were just going down a vine like Tarzan or something like that. Just like,
it was a wire. The only other interesting things to mention is that Mundi and Plo Koon are both in this episode.
yeah.
Ooh, it's not like you don't see them do anything cool. So it's not like, oh my God, it's Mundi. It's like, oh, he's alive. That's cool.
Yeah.
At the start, Mundi is gathered around with everyone and they're talking about how May is such a powerful Force user, and then it flashes up the 3 Jedi that aren't Soul, weirdly, and it's like, oh, it shows the 2 that have been killed in Dara, Torben, and then, but there's also a 4th Jedi, which is like and subscribe. They're basically talking about how these people are Sith, which is weird considering in 80 years, Qui-Gon's like, oh, I found the first Sith in 1,000 years. That seems like it should be a bigger deal. But then Plo Koon, we see him on the actual planet with them.
Yes.
So Plo Koon firsthand has seen like a red lightsaber and been fucked up a little bit by it.
Yeah. And he is on the council in the prequels.
Yeah, so when Qui-Gon's like, I fought a guy with a red lightsaber, and Plo Koon's like, whew, boy, let me tell you a story.
Yeah. Also, another like kind of subplot line that they've introduced is they don't want to tell the High Council, including like, I guess Yoda would already be on there, about this whole situation that's happening. They don't want to alert the High Council because then the High Council would tell the Senate, and then the Senate would... It's all kinds of...
So is this their way of avoiding showing Yoda?
Yes.
Because Yoda's
that's their way, I think, of saying that's why Qui-Gon and the Masters didn't know about it, because this subsect of Jedi Masters was
just
keeping
never
it a secret.
brought it up. God,
and just
that's
never
so
brought it
stupid.
Up.
Especially when Mundi's on the council.
I'm very glad that you guys all got eviscerated.
That's
and
just
everyone on
dumb.
the planet has to die as well. Surely everyone has to die.
I think the only good thing we thought we liked the music at the end there.
Music was good, kind of like ominous, spooky, kind of.
Like it seemed kind of tense at the end there. So like that was decent, I guess.
Well, where do you think the next episode's going to go? So this episode was called Day.
This one has to be night. Yeah, it must be.
And also lightsaber battles at nighttime. Like we saw it with like Obi-Wan show.
Look awful.
But it's their go-to, I think, because you can like mask a lot of stuff maybe. Like in the darkness.
Actually, yeah, most of Obi-Wan was in the dark. So yeah, they do like their lightsaber at night. I think it's because they like the lightsabers actually illuminate themselves now. So they're like, haha, see?
Well, this is kind of like, if you take out the flashback episode, the next episode would technically be like episode 4 in the sequence.
Yep.
So that's technically like our mid-season. I think they're going to go big mid-season, and then we're going to get 2 boring episodes into a setup episode into a finale.
Oh yeah, because there's no way they can win this fight, because otherwise the show's just over and they've killed the Sith Lord. So someone's got to bail. But
I think we need May to save Soul so that she can get back in the good graces, so we can have the 5-man party of Osha, May, Yord, X-23, and Soul. all like going to like the final battle or whatever.
It's either everyone is going to be against Smilo Ren, or it's going to be somehow Smilo escapes and May is somehow blamed for the death of Kelnaka, even though the Sith has now shown himself.
Yeah.
So it feels like the sisters have to now be together, but it's not interesting.
I mean, I still kind of liked it just because like it showed some interesting stuff, like Osha being like, you have to kill her. I like that. That made my feet tingle. I was like, whoa.
It was good that she, but again, she only snapped to the let's kill her so that May could then flip to the other thing. So it's just they just swapped.
I get it.
Looks like a fun mountaintop.
It's still dog shit. Talking about bad TV is hard.
When you're
but
not
it's
angry.
easier than talking about nothing TV.
This was a very nothing episode because it was all building up to that finale.
Yeah. So Ahsoka did it as well. They did this formula of like setup episode into the next one's going to be a big action episode.
Yeah. At like 29 minutes, it definitely feels like they're stretching this show out.
This was short as fuck.
Yeah, I didn't even finish my popcorn. It was crazy.
It was short as hell. My coffee stayed hot the whole time.
Especially after watching like House of the Dragon, where they actually bother to give you an hour and 10-minute episode.
Insane.
You can do so much, and there's no reason why this couldn't be much shorter. So it's like,
or much longer.
They're padding out these episodes, and the episodes aren't even long. So the fact that they have to pad out a short episode to pad out like an entire story, it's like there's not enough is happening in these things.
Don't worry. Once this is over, we're gonna make our own Star Wars The Acolyte story. Like, I'd love to use all the characters from this. We'll get the whiteboard out, the red twine, and we're gonna write our own story on how the Acolyte should have been done.
Rebuild it. Because, on paper, it seems like it should be decent. Like, you've got all the characters that can do things.
Star Wars, twins, red lightsaber. It's a formula that's lasted the test of time.
Other budgetary thing was kind of weird. The Jedi Temple kids are all using sticks. Like in episode 2, we see Jedi children actually using lightsabers.
Yeah.
So they trust children with things, but they don't trust X-23 with a lightsaber.
Very true. She has a lightsaber at the end here, though.
Yeah, but like she has to train with a stick. I'm finally represented in Star Wars.
The ginger top-knot Jedi.
Ginger Jedi walking around. I'm still sick of the Coruscant logo coming up on the very obvious picture of Coruscant. And we have another forest planet.
Yeah.
That's pretty much just Brendok again. But this one's Kofar.
Kashyyyk.
Yeah, it wants to be.
Were these 20 million an episode?
15 to 20, yeah.
At the end, they do tickle your balls a little bit with that. Like, obviously,
You get the trailer shot with all the
we didn't think
lightsabers.
we'd be seeing, because we've seen like the big bad for probably 4 seconds in the first episode, like in the distance.
They just
and that's
show
kinda
off their
it.
lightsaber just to remind us that they're a Sith.
And so you're like, oh, we're probably not going to see them again till the very end. My problem is, how come all of these Force sensitives can't sense this most powerful Force user?
Sol notices him. He does turn around.
Yeah, when they already land.
Just before he floats down.
Well, just before it floats down. It's bullshit. It's bullshit because any OG Jedis should have been able to sense a Force user that powerful.
Vader can sense Luke through space on a ship from a distance.
It's not.
I don't know if La Familia.
It is not. It is not Dragon Ball Z where it's like we're hiding our power levels. You know that shit hasn't been established.
Yeah, I don't know if you're allowed to do that.
Rey and Kylo, don't they communicate through space with their minds?
They do, because they're a Force dyad.
Yes,
and so does May and Osha.
But that just speaks to how powerful the Force is when you want it to be.
The Force is too powerful now for me, to be honest.
You can do whatever you want with it, though.
Like Obi-Wan, Darth Vader pulls down a ship, which is too much.
But that's cool because Darth Vader.
It's cool, but then again, he never shows that in like the future episodes. And then like Smilo Ren's able to Force push like 8 Jedi out of the way. Like, why wouldn't you just use that move all the time? Like, they've just made the Force too powerful. And I think video games are to blame. It's because in Force Unleashed, it was called the Force Unleashed. You had to go fucking nutso. You had to pull Star Destroyers down out of orbit. The Force power creep is getting out of hand. Even in the prequel trilogy where it's like the Force is at its most insane, Yoda spends like 3 minutes trying to stop rocks from falling from the sky. It's like the Force can do very cool things, but it's not ridiculous like the games show it to be. But now it is, because this is the strongest Sith we've seen.
Well, now it's like, this is the strongest Force user we've seen.
It's just too much now. But yes, this episode was boring, but I guess it at least shows that something's going to happen next week.
Which is hopefully good. I'm having high hopes for next week.
It'll be insane if they somehow end here with like this big excitement and it fizzles super hard.
The next episode is going to be them waking up and it's sunrise again and they go, did we all get knocked out?
And May's been kidnapped.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No, Osha's been kidnapped and they have to work with May to get the master. Lock it in.
I would not. Honestly, I've been hurt before.
Also, this movement here of like pushing Osha away.
Oh, she got fucking destroyed.
Yeah.
Like, Osha's next.
Let us know if you like this episode. Let us know if you like the show, to be honest, because right now it's feeling a bit nothing burgerish, but let us know if this swells the force in your balls.